Hello, we are Group A. Today we are going to discuss the 7 step of ethical decision making by applying it in one case. And to appreciate more about the case, we are going to apply one ethical theory. And you will know that later. So, let's get started.
So the first step in making a ethical decision is gathering the facts. And based on the case, Miss Carla has a messenger husband named Ben. They have 3 young children. They live as an informal settlers in a compound in Boulevard, Roa City. Miss Carla works as a stay-out helper for Miss Pilar, and Miss Pilar is an administrative assistant of the city town mayor. Miss Pilar wants Carla to sign up the ghost contract in a hospital project. Carla don't have to do anything and she just need to sign up the contract. Miss Pilar said that Carla will get the half of the expected 11,000 pesos monthly salary for the 10-month long project. And the last one is Carla is a active member of her local parish. So that is the step 1. So for the step 2, we must identify the stakeholders of the given case. So of course, the first one is Carla, and then the the administrative assistant of the mayor, Miss Pilar, and then the mayor, and then Carla's husband, and then Carla's 3 young children. That's all.
For the third step, articulate the dilemma, our group discussed and point out that the main problem of Carla's case is to whether sign the contract and become a ghost employee or reject the offer of Miss Pilar. For the fourth step, listing down alternatives, our group discussed and list 4 alternatives. And these are the following. The first alternative is to sign the contract and become a ghost employee in a hospital project managed by Miss Pilar. The second alternative is to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and continue as a stay-out helper. Our third alternative is to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and resign as a stay-out helper. Our fourth alternative is to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and send an anonymous letter to the mayor's office indicating Miss Pilar's payroll fraud.
Fifth steps. Compare the alternatives. If I was Carla, deciding in accordance with the virtue of ethics, of course, the first alternative, which is to sign the ghost employee contract and become a ghost employee, would automatically be rejected as it is a dishonest act or an immoral thing to do as it involves lying, which could manipulate the distribution of the payroll. Next, I would reject the second alternative, which is to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and continue as a stay-out house helper. For although I have already rejected the dishonest act offered by Miss Pilar after enlightening her that what she is doing is wrong, staying at her house as a house helper would also mean that I am letting myself serve a dishonest people. Further, there would also be a great possibility that the money coming from my salary is also coming from the other dishonest acts of Miss Pilar other than the ghost employee scheme. Which leave me the best 2 alternative, which is to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and resign as a stay-out house helper, and to reject the ghost employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilar of her wrongdoing and send an anonymous letter to the city mayor's office indicating about Miss Pilar's payroll fraud.
For the step 6, this is the part where we weigh the consequence. In order to arrive at the right decision, it is just right to weigh both positive and negative consequences of each choice. So we have chosen the third and fourth alternative as the best 2 alternatives in this situation. I'll be discussing the first one. which is to reject signing the employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilars of her wrongdoing and resign as a stay-out house helper. For the positive consequences, first, there is no chance that Carla will be imprisoned because she rejected the offer. Second, her family will live peacefully without worrying about her getting caught. Third, Carla would not be drawn with her conscience, but rather feel satisfied for doing what is right despite her hard situation. Fourth, Carla would do the community and the taxpayers a favor for not doing such a legal act. As you can see, there are only few positive consequences on this alternative solution. Now let us go to its negative consequences. First, Carla's family might get into trouble due to the resignation of Carla, as it would mean that her messenger husband Ben would only be the one left to suffice their family's needs, which is clearly not enough for they have 3 children. Second, Carla might have a hard time searching for another job, since she had resigned as Miss Pilar's stay-out house helper. So Miss Pilar's threat might increase, for Carla resigning as her helper is an alarming act, which portrays how Carla strongly disagrees of her act and that there is a great possibility that she will confess to the authority. Fourth, Miss Pilar might use her authority to evict Carla's family for being an informal settler, to warn her not to tell the authorities of her illegal acts. Lastly, Miss Pilar will not stop on her fraud and will look for another person who is willing to accept her offer. So that is for the first alternative, which is reject signing the employee contract after enlightening Miss Pilars of her wrongdoing and resign as a stay-out house helper.
Alright, so we have here the second alternative, which is reject the employee contract after enlightening Ms. Pilar of her wrongdoing and send an anonymous letter to the city mayor's office indicating about Ms. Pilar's payroll fraud. So there will be there will be a positive and negative side with this. So we have the positive points here. First is Carla will not be imprisoned because she rejected the offer. And second, her family will live peacefully without worrying of her getting caught. And third one is Carla would not be drawn with her conscience, but rather feel satisfied for doing what is right despite of her hard situation. And she will be able to continue to suffice the needs of her family, as she will still continue to work as Miss Pilar's helper, but only up to the moment where Miss Pilar will get caught for investigation. And next will be Miss Pilar might not threaten Carla because she doesn't have any evidence that Carla was the one who sent the anonymous letter. And Miss Pilar might be terminated as the administrative assistant of the mayor, which would stop her illegal operation of ghost employee scheme. And lastly, the positive point will be Carla will do the community and the taxpayers a favor for doing such act of reporting the scheme to the authority. So that are the positive points. So the negative side. So the first one will be Miss Pilar might convince and threat Carla every day while doing her job, for she already have an information about her illegal acts until the latter will be read and run for investigation. The next one will be Miss Pilar might manipulate the power of her position and warn Carla to evict her family for being an informal settler in order to force her to accept the immoral offer. I mean the offer of Miss Pilar. So the third one is there's a chance that the authorities would not believe the contents of the letter. And lastly, Miss Pilar might have a great doubt that the anonymous was Carla, for she was the one whom she offered the other half of the salary of the ghost employee scheme. So that are the negative points. So right now, so this time, I will give the floor for the step 7, who will make the final decision. But which do you think would be the preferable decision in this situation? Well, let's find out.
So we are now on the last step, or the step 7, make a decision. So after the careful deliberation of our group on what is the best alternative to use between the two alternatives discussed in step 6, we have decided that if we were to consider ourselves in the shoes of Carla, we will choose alternative number 4, or the reject the ghost employee contract offered by Miss Pilar, and in addition to that, we will send an anonymous letter to the city mayor's office regarding her payroll fraud. Why? Because merely rejecting the contract, resigning, and enlightening Miss Pilar that what she's doing was wrong will not be enough to totally solve the problem, but rather it will just prevent Carla from being indulged in the illegal activity of Miss Pilar, and it will not stop Miss Pilar from looking for another prospects or looking for another person who will accept the offer. Further, we also believe that even though Miss Pilar have a lot of reasons or personal problems which forced her to do it, it is still not enough to justify her act of corrupting the government and using her position for her own benefit.
In connection to what Miss Anyana has said, the application of virtue ethics principle in this situation happened the moment Carla did not immediately reacted according to her stigma, but rather collected all the facts to arrive at the golden mean. As a virtuous person, Carla did not choose to be silent, which is an act of cowardice or deficiency, and she did not also expose the illegal activity immediately to the authority, as it would be an act of recklessness or excess. But rather, she chose the golden mean of fixing the situation right by totally stopping the illegal doing of Miss Pilar through sending an anonymous letter to the appropriate authority, which is the best thing to do just to protect herself and her family from any threats and accuses of Miss Pilar. As they do not have the capacity to fight, for they are just an illegal settlers with enough income, and to give justice for the taxpayers who pays properly for the fund used productively, but also to prevent the change of other people from being indulged with the illegal act of Miss Pilar. And in conclusion, according to Aristotle, by honing virtuous habits, people will likely make the right choice when faced with ethical challenges, just like the case of Carla. So, virtue ethics helps us understand what it means to be virtuous human being, and it gives us guide for living life without giving us specific rules for resolving ethical dilemmas. That would be all. Thank you for watching.